Welcome to the 1 to 9 podcast for interesting insights and knowledge from animals and other beings within multidimensional realms. Hello, Diana.
Hello, Karin.
We're here creating another podcast on, it's not exactly fairies, but it's on the gnome branch of the fairies at my parents' house.
Yes, and we had talked about gnomes previously, the gnomes that were in my sort of country house.
In Chincoteague.
In Chincoteague, yeah.
These will be in northwest Pennsylvania.
Right, and they're actually quite different. Now, I first encountered them, well, when was it? Before Christmas, for sure. I guess maybe it was October or November.
Must have been November, I think.
Yeah, okay, so Karin, you had said to me that somehow your parents' house was on the market, yet nobody was putting in any offers.
Actually, they were putting in offers, but the offers were...
Oh, yeah, too low.
They were just not good offers.
Right, they weren't good offers. So I was walking home one day from the gym, and then who popped into my head, or whatever I can call it, my field of energy, whatever, it was a gnome. And I started asking him, like, who are you? And he said, he's kind of like the head of the gnomes of your parents' house. And so I thought, okay, well, if he appeared here, I'm just going to ask him some questions. So I asked, Karin and her family really want the house to be sold. Like, why are people putting in not good offers? Why aren't there any good offers? And he said to me, well, okay, we want to make sure that that we approve of whoever buys the house, right? So then, and we don't want somebody that we don't approve of to actually buy the house. Otherwise, we'd feel the energy would not be good, and then we'd feel we'd have to leave, and it wouldn't be the same anymore, right?
So let me ask you, let me just interrupt here for a second, because I want a little background on these gnomes. So why did they come there in the first place to my parents' house?
Oh, I don't know. That wasn't really part of the initial conversation.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Can they answer it?
Can they answer it now, you mean?
Yeah.
They were always there.
They were there before my parents moved in.
Yeah. I mean, I think you said that your dad had built the house, right?
Yes, he did build the house.
Okay. So they were there on the land before your dad built the house.
Now, did they have anything to do or say with about having my dad in particular to buy that house? Did they draw him in to that property?
Yes. They're saying they did do that.
So they wanted him to be one of their neighbors or one of their cohabitants, I would say.
Yeah. Because somehow they knew that he would build something that they would like. Because, I mean, before your dad built the house, they were actually just in the woods. And I mean, Pennsylvania is a little bit colder than here. Mm-hmm. So they wanted some kind of warm dwelling.
Oh, so they lived in the house.
Yeah, oh, yeah. They were inside and outside. No, I mean, once the house was built, they're inside and outside. But before the house, they were just outside. They didn't like that too much.
Okay, so did they come in the winter and then go back out in the summer? Or did they just come and go? It
kind of depends what they wanted. There were some that actually liked living outside in the cold. Some didn't like that. And so they would stay inside during the winter. And some actually wanted to stay inside during the summer, too, because it was too hot. And so as opposed to the gnomes that were in my Chincoteague house, which were just a small group, the gnome community at your parents' house was actually really large.
Did they want to give us a number?
Yeah, they're saying like 150 or so.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And they're composed of little families.
Mm-hmm. How many families?
I don't know. What are they saying? They said they're 20.
20 families of gnomes.
Yeah. And they're all living, they don't live together, right? Like I said, they live according to their preferences. So they've got little dwellings everywhere, inside and outside, Some of them like nooks and crannies. Some of them prefer kind of like the open spaces of the large rooms, I mean, they've got tons of choices there.
Yes, they do. I would say that house goes on and on.
Right.
Inside and outside.
Yeah.
And there's lots of little barns and wood piles.
This is exactly what they like, you know. They love the house. They love the area. And they wanted to make sure that nothing really changed. So, like, they wanted to make sure the house was not torn down and something else rebuilt. Otherwise, they'd all have to find someplace else to live in, right?
Mm-hmm. Are there more gnomes concentrated around my parents' house than in other houses in the area?
They'd actually, okay. They have not given this much thought. Because, like I said, theirs is a pretty big community. Even though they are actually can communicate with gnomes and gnome communities throughout the world, and in multidimensional realms also. But there are some places with large gnome communities in the area,
as well as my parents.
Yeah. But they don't interact with them all the time.
Mm-hmm. That little ball in the background is Ellie playing ping pong in the living room during our podcast, just in case anybody's wondering. So did the gnomes get along with the animals at the house?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. They did like them.
Did they have a favorite?
No, they didn't have a favorite. They liked them all.
Were there other animals in the that they communed with in that area that might want to, that they were part of their life there?
Oh yeah, I mean all the animals inside the house, like mice and insects, maybe even rats. Not inside the house, but in around the house, right? All kinds of birds, snakes, chipmunks, yes, squirrels,
moles.
Yeah, moles, foxes. I mean, they were all part of their daily life. That's why they didn't really have. I mean, they did have favorites.
Oh, okay. So while they were helping us find the right person to replace my parents, who had been in the house for 60 some years, or close to 60 years, you said that they got sick. The head gnome got sick, because I could feel the energy had stopped at one point, like they were helping and then all of a sudden they weren't. What happened there? Yeah, okay. So when I was walking home from the gym and talking to the gnome, he said, well, first of all, I assured him that nobody would be buying the place unless all the gnomes approved of the buyers, right? And so then he said, well, he's going to sort of like send out messages to attract the right kind of people, okay, to various gnome communities, and also just in general sending out energy so that the right people would come and be interested in the property. Yeah, and then somehow a couple of months went by, I guess. Was it a couple of months? No, it's probably more like a couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks, right. Okay. And nothing was really happening. And then I think, Karin, you asked me.
I said I felt the energy not going out anymore.
Right. And then so like I asked the head gnome, like, well, you know, what's going on? And he said he'd gotten sick. So he was recuperating.
And all the energy went into recuperating him.
So
did he have the COVID or something?
I don't know. He didn't say what he had. But, I mean, it was obviously something that he got over, right? And he got healthy again. And they resumed their search and sending out the energy to actually attract a good buyer, good future owner.
Right. And that was then shortly thereafter, we got the offer that were of these new people that seemed just absolutely perfect for the house. The gnomes liked the offer that came in. They
like this couple. Yes.
Okay, so they're
really happy. They're really happy that they're going to be taking over this place.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I got the same energy from them. I even did a little background check on them, and they seemed like good people.
Okay, and so like somehow it wasn't the head gnome's decision to make, right? whether or not these were actually the right people to buy your parents' place. Somehow, all the gnomes had to agree upon this.
Okay.
Otherwise, it wouldn't have gone through. So they did all agree. They must have sort of like convened somehow and talked about it. So,
do they talk telepathically, or do they sit down and they take votes like a democratic system, or how do they do it?
There's both. For important things, they meet actually. They meet all together.
So did they meet for this?
Yes, they did. This was pretty important. That's kind of like their future, you know.
And do they have a message for maybe my mother? My dad's passed now, but maybe my mother and our family who'd lived there for a long time?
Oh, well, they're saying that, they're sorry that your mother is not living there anymore. They were very sorry to see her go, and your dad also. But they realize that, you know, these things happen, and they're kind of like also working to ensure that things go well with your mother, too.
Did some of them follow her to her new place?
No, but they go visit.
Oh, they do go visit her?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, because they want to check up on her.
Well, we really appreciate that. She seems to like the place she's living in now.
Yeah, they approved of that also.
Oh, very interesting. So do they have a message for the new owners?
The new owners, you know, they're saying to them, be attentive to what we will be showing you or telling you or demonstrating to you. And I think they know that the new owners will be able to do that.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, And I mean, gnomes communicate with humans in various ways. I mean, like with me, somehow they can just appear and start talking. Or they can send them messages, right?
Right. Or you can just feel their energy. You know, they can, I could feel when they said they were helping to find somebody, and then I felt when they weren't, and felt when they were again. And, you know, there's
right. Then they can also sort of give you little signs too, like make things appear, or, well, not like magic, but sort of like put things in certain positions where you actually see it and you realize, oh, okay, this is what this is supposed to mean. So however the new owners will be able to pick up on what the gnomes will be imparting to them. I think the gnomes are saying that they'll be able to sense them and sense what they want. And if the gnomes are not in agreement with what the new owners want to do, then the new owners won't do that. That's what they're telling me.
Mm-hmm. All right. Very good. That's kind of nice to know. Can I just ask how long these gnomes have been there in that area?
Oh, my God. Hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years. Now, are the original gnomes still alive that were there, or do they have a shorter lifespan than that?
They've got effigies of the original ones.
Okay.
Meaning like little statues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the original ones are not really around. But they're their ancestors, and they kind of, you know, they're around in spirit, put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the gnomes are multidimensional beings themselves, there's another layer of that, in that when they pass on, they become another kind of spirit.
Okay. I think that's a common theme in the fairy world.
Yeah. And so once they pass on, it makes it much easier for them to travel around.
Mm-hmm. I have I thank them very much for all that information. I have some more personal questions about my dad, because he's always, to me, felt like a bit of a gnome himself. Did they have a special kinship with my dad, a special multidimensional relationship with him, or did I just conjure that up?
No. There's like maybe 5 or 6 of them who are actually kind of older. I mean, they seem like middle-aged kind of gnomes. They're saying, yeah, no. I mean, we actually got together with your dad a lot. And whether or not he realized it, they were actually communicating, you know. Because whatever your dad did in terms of constructing a house or buildings or going out into the forest.
Or the garden work.
Or the garden, right. If he was happy, you know, doing what he was doing, they were always there with him, assisting, So, yeah, it seems like they had a really good time. And now, okay, I'm asking if they've gone to see your dad. They're saying, no, they have to wait a bit.
Okay. And I know my mom had a real love for the outside and gardening and stuff too. Did they have a specific relationship with her?
Oh, yeah. The ones that visit her now, they were some of the closest ones. There were others also, but for some reason they're not visiting their mom now. But again, it's kind of like these are older, middle-aged gnomes.
When you say middle-aged, you're talking about 100 years old, or?
I don't know. I'm talking about, well, they're not baby gnomes. They're not child gnomes. They're not young adult gnomes. Although it's like okay, so like the gnomes that were attached to your dad and your mother, when they did have kids, they would bring them around. And so, I mean, your parents were kind of like involved in the growing up of the gnomes as kids. You see what I mean?
I guess, yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't know. We all were not speaking about any of that stuff.
No, I mean, you didn't talk about it, but you probably felt that there were like these little beings around there. Yeah, it could be you saw them kind of like out of the corner, at the periphery of your vision.
Well, one of my siblings in particular was very much speaking to multidimensional beings when she was little. And I'm just wondering if she was speaking to these multidimensional beings, or if she actually saw the gnomes around the house and was speaking to them.
They're saying they don't know if she actually saw them.
Oh, okay.
Right? You'd have to ask her. But she was certainly communicating with them.
Mm-hmm. As were we all, or?
In your own various ways.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have known that consciously that's what you were doing, but you were. Otherwise, the gnome community would not have felt such a great attachment to, the house and your parents and the whole family.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm assuming the new people that are moving in will start their own family there.
Well, yeah, that's up to them.
I know it's up to them, but I'm assuming they will. They seem to be of that age, and they bought a family house.
Right.
Not a single person house.
Right. So the gnomes would certainly like that, because gnomes really enjoy young human kids.
No, that's kind of nice.
They like playing with them.
So is there a final message from the gnomes to our family, or to people in general?
People in general, well, they're saying, pay attention to the little things, It could be that you put something down in one place, and then when you look for it again, a couple of hours later, it's gone, and it's just moved a little bit. Who's done that?
All right. And do they want us to do things to foster gnomes living in our homes or around our homes?
Oh, okay. The main thing that fosters that is basically they need a really good atmosphere. They're not in places where there's fear and anger and anxiety. They just avoid those places. Yeah. So, of course.
So does that make it harder in general for them to live in the cities?
No, it makes them harder. Any place.
Okay.
They're saying that they realize that you cannot have an atmosphere that's just completely happiness and joy, because human beings are not built that way. Neither are gnomes also, right? So, they get angry, they get anxious, they get hurt, but they deal with those kinds of more negative emotions better than we do. And so they prefer to have places where humans can do that also.
Okay. So they can express their emotions in a healthy way.
Right.
All right. That makes sense. So do I have any gnomes at my house here in the city?
Yeah. Wait a minute. I remember was it the first podcast about fairies? Mm-hmm. Some of them came down with you.
The repelling fairies, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Repelling fairies, right? But the gnomes. Yeah, you know what? There's a couple of them, but they're just outside.
They're outside gnomes?
Yeah. I don't know why. They want to stay outside. Probably because it's not too cold here.
Yeah, I would assume.
Yeah, and they like it outdoors. And you've got nice trees in the back, so.
Alrighty. Is there anything you want to ask the gnomes, Diana?
No. Well, okay. Do they really look gnome-like?
Okay, that's a good question.
Like what we think of as gnomes. Or are they mad when people put up these gnome statues in their gardens? Because you see a lot of that. Okay, they think it's actually kind of funny. They don't harbor any ill will against people who put up those statues, but it's like...
Do they actually look like that then, with little pointy hats?
No, they're all individuals, right? Some of them do wear those little hats. Some of them don't. But they are small and they are gnome-like. But they're not mad that we've kind of like have these stereotypical pictures of them. They're not mad about it. Like I said, they think it's kind of funny.
Well, I don't know if it's funny or not, but it's very cute. Mm-hmm. The way a lot of them are depicted, they're certainly like fun to look at.
Yeah. And yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, gnomes, for telling us a little bit about what life is like in my parents' home. And thanks for taking care of the home. And thanks for being part of my family. And thanks for helping us transition to another family.
And you know what? They're all there and they're waving. And
150 of them?
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So they all got together. I mean, I think they were listening to sort of like this, our discussion sporadically, but they're all together now and they're all waving goodbye.
All right. Goodbye, gnomes.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all for this episode of the 1 to 9 podcast. Thank you for listening, and please sign up for our newsletter at 1to9podcast.com.